It's that time again. My goodness, this looks like Movie Maker. Someone please get me an editor. Hello, true Torentsu believers. It's finally time for Torentsu's long-awaited and well-hyped review of Tekken 7. And I even went all out and made it a Torentsu Reviews episode for the first time ever. So I don't really have my little portrait down here talking at you like usual, because that generally has not been a staple of Torentsu Reviews episodes. However, if it bothers you that much that you do not have my little head talking at you in the corner, please direct yourself to any of my other videos, or just wait. I'm sure I'll put one out soon enough that has that. But anyway, Tekken 7 did come out. I apologize, I'm very late on this review. Everything's fine, as I'm quickly figuring out when you have a brand new baby in the house, especially one that has started daycare, they just become a litany of diseases, and they bring these diseases into your house and infect you and everybody else around with them. So I was sick, and I even tried to do the review when I was sick, but it turned into a sinus infection, and I got such that I couldn't speak more than 3 or 4 lines without just bursting into coughing. So I had to scratch that. I couldn't do it. But I'm back now, and it's time for the review of Tekken 7. So Tekken 7 did come out. I picked it up. GameStop did their little 9 o'clock. They've started doing their release at 9 o'clock. So I picked the game up and spent some time with it. The first things I did were just kind of hop into arcade mode and see how the game felt. And over the next day or two, I have platinumed the game, but one of the first things I did before trying out the online was to go and finish the story and those kind of things. And so here's just my overall thoughts on the game. The story mode, we'll start with it since it's at the top of the menu. And I think behind me I'm just going to have some generic footage of the game, because you all bought this game for the one-on-one gameplay. You know, even the story mode is one-on-one gameplay. So I just wanted to show that mainly so you could get a look at it. But the story mode, you know, Namco touted this thing like it was cinematic and it was the end-all be-all. I honestly was not overly impressed with the story mode. If you played the story mode in Mortal Kombat 10, you've seen this before. If you've played Injustice story mode, you've seen this before. They just added in a few, whereas MK10 had quick-time events. This has 1 or 2 shooting events, and you have more battles against mooks than you did in Injustice and those type of games. And it basically just goes like that. There will be a battle against some storyline characters, and then you'll have a battle against like some Tekken Force or some Jack 4s or just whatever until another storyline character shows up. The story itself, it's better than what I saw from Dead or Alive 5 story mode as far as sense, but the whole thing just seemed very smashed together. It's kind of like Tekken story has always been. Like, when you play Tekken stories and read Tekken literature, you get the idea that the creators of the game have this very, very comprehensive idea in their head about what's going on, and they probably have a story Bible somewhere there at Namco headquarters. But unfortunately, we are not privy to that. So a lot of the things that happen in the story, and I'll try not to spoil too much of it, they just don't make a lot of sense. Like, you're supposed to be in the middle of this big war between G-Corp and Mishima Zaibatsu, who's now being led by Heihachi, who literally, within the first few minutes of the game, just walks back in there and takes it, you know. Basically, Nina Williams is leading it in Jin's absence, and Heihachi pretty much just walks in there and beats everybody up. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll listen to Heihachi again, you know. And while that kind of makes sense within the Tekken universe, it just seems kind of too easy, right? You know, even as powerful as the game portrays Heihachi, that's the entire Tekken force, right? I mean, Jin Kazama was taken down by the scores of them in Tekken 4. So you mean to tell me that all the entire Tekken force and Nina together inside probably the most highly guarded complex in Japan could not take out Heihachi walking in there? I just don't believe it. And the series is full of events like this. But the Mishima Saga story mode in Tekken 7 is chock full of events like this. Kazuya and Heihachi just trade blows throughout the story, and the things that they do, it's like they just act unanimous of the entire world. I know that in the storyline we've established that G Corp and Mishima Zaibatsu are strong enough to take on nations. But just looking at the size of the armies of the United States and China and the United Nations, it's really hard to put put a suspension of disbelief into play because of the things that these two companies do to each other during the story, almost as if they just do whatever and no one even attempts to stop them. It's like the United States and the rest of the world don't even exist military-wise with the things that they do. You get some rumblings about the United Nations being involved with Raven and Master Raven and that sort of thing. But for the most part, the Mishima Zaibatsu and the G Corp just kind of, they just kind of fight each other using the world as their playground. And some of it's believable, but I think the real hard part for me was there's a scene later in the game, and turn it off if you don't want spoilers. But Heihachi uses a satellite to blow up G Corp's headquarters in an attempt to make Kazuya show himself as the devil. Okay, that's all well and fine. He has a satellite. If he had a satellite that could blow the thing up with no interference whatsoever, why did he not just do that to begin with? Why is he not using the satellite to blow Kazuya up? Why does he just use it for that? And the whole game is full of like silly stuff like that. I'm sorry, I just was not impressed with the story mode. I did enjoy the fact that Lee was actually one of the main characters and has his own chapter. But, none of it's really exciting. Most of the characters besides Heihachi and Kazuya are just there. They're kind of on the side doing stuff that in some inadvertent way has an effect on the plot, but not really. Also, that guy that played the narrator, I'm sure that he was just given bad direction or something, but that voice acting was absolutely inexcusable. They should have ran that by somebody in North America and said, hey, does this sound good? As a native English speaker, do you think this voice acting is passable? Because it's not. It's quite frankly awful. That aside, the character stories, which is like you have your main Mishima story, and then you have these side stories, which are all the other characters that they couldn't put into the main story mode. Those are just inexcusably bad. I mean, they are terrible. I thought that the story mode characters in Tekken 6 were kind of sparse on plot, but these things are just laughable, right? You would get like 2 or 3 battles and then an ending, a CGI ending. Well, now you just get like some still frame picture with some text that's unnarrated, one fight, and then you get some in-game cutscene, like it's rendered with the engine. And most of them are not like character resolution or how a character played into the main story. It's more like these two characters fought, you pick this one, so here's what happens if they win this fight. And the majority of them are just worthless. Like, as much as I actually turned out liking Lucky Chloe, for some reason she fights Eddie Gordo, I guess because they both dance. And if she wins, he has to become her backup dancer. And it's really stupid stuff like that happens. Very few of them have anything to do with the main plot. Some of them, are kind of interesting, like the one with Gigas and his origins. Gigas, I guess you could say. And but they're just kind of there. And all these new characters in the game, like Lucky Chloe and Shaheen, all these guys, except Claudio, I think, were just kind of crammed into these character side stories. So they're just there, they do one fight, and then they're done. You have no idea how they fit into the whole story. They make no impact on the plot as a whole. They're just shoved off there on the side for whatever reason. So it's really quite disappointing as far as single player content goes. If you were wanting to buy this game just because you really like Scenario Campaign in 6 and you wanted to see how the story ended up, you might just watch it on YouTube. I don't know that I would spend the $60 for just the story mode if that's what you were interested in, because I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. Now, that being said, this is a fighter. Fighters are not necessarily a casual fodder. They're usually games for more hardcore or competitive people or people who like fighters and that kind of thing. So let's move on to the one-on-one fighting. So your offline modes are Arcade Battle, which is arcade mode, Treasure Battle, which is ghost mode. Don't let the internet naysayers fool you. It's ghost mode. versus battle, which is just like one-on-one battles repeated between you and another player, and then a practice mode, which is self-explanatory. The customization modes come back. You can customize characters. Thanks to the swap to Unreal Engine, there's not as many customization items as before. I feel like they're a higher quality now, at least. Like, you can actually dress up some cool characters or characters that look like things from other media, and it works really well, despite the limited options. Hopefully they'll get some more of those as the DLC comes out, and it's a shame you have to wait for DLC for those things, but it's such is the way of the world now. If you're playing on PS4, which I'm on, you get the jukebox mode, which I actually like a lot more than I thought. I've had a lot of fun with jukebox mode. It lets you basically remix the songs in the game from different Tekkens. So like if you want the game to play all Tekken 1 music, you can set it to shuffle Tekken 1 music, or you can set it to preset. And they actually put a lot of thought into what tracks end up on what stage, which I thought was really cool. Like if you pick Tekken 1, for instance, the Fighter Select music from Tekken 1 plays at the Fighter Select screen. The music from King George Island, which is an ice stage, plays on the ice stage in-game. It works really well, and they obviously put some thought into this. And you could do this for every single Tekken game, you know, even Tekken Revolution. You can set your soundtrack to a preset sampling where the developers basically went through and said what tracks from this game best fit these stages. And it works really well. It really does. You can also go back and choose the entire series. So basically it remixes music from the entire Tekken series into Tekken 7, which is awesome. And you can even do that with Shuffle, which gives you random music in every menu and stage and all the other places from the Tekken series, which is really cool. You can get really nostalgic. I love that Tekken 2 mode, yo. Below Jukebox in the menu, you'll find your basic options, PlayStation Store, Gallery, and VR mode. I don't have access to VR mode, so I can't really talk about it. From what I hear, it's nothing special. It's just like practice mode in VR is all it is. Your Gallery mode it's kind of interesting to me what Gallery mode is. They let you buy artwork and stuff from all the other Tekkens. And the neat thing about it is, like, all the old Tekken endings are in there, and they're free. You can buy them with in-game fight money, which is cool because in Tekken Tag 2, if I remember correctly, all those items were paid DLC. Like, you had to buy the endings from former games. But now they're all just free in here, which is really how it should be because they're all on YouTube anyway. So that was nice. But those are pretty much your single-player offerings. Now, as far as the combat itself, it's great. I love it. Tekken has always been one of the best one-on-one fighting games, especially in 3D, if not the best 3D one-on-one fighter. And it really shows. They have done away with Bound and some of the other systems so that combos have been scaled back a lot this generation. Now you have Tailspin and Corkscrew and that kind of stuff, which is similar but not quite. It doesn't allow you to do just these crazy Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag 2 level combos as easily. You can still do a lot of that stuff if you're really good and you know what you're doing. But for the most part, some of that more extreme comboing has been scaled back. Now you can expect a lot more technique and fundamental heavy game. Juggles are still an optimal part of gameplay, and they are what you want to master to take off as much health as possible. But now you see a lot more of people trading blows and playing the game more carefully. And that leads into the introduction of what is essentially super moves, and with rage arcs and rage drives, which you can, if you remember Rage from Tekken 6, which grants you extra damage when your health is low, you can now trade that rage to use what's essentially a super move to take off a lot of health. The reactions I've seen online have been mixed about these. Some people think that they're great and they cause no problem because most of them are very easily punished if you block them, and they're not unblockable. They're very easy to block. And other people have said that they're an unnecessary comeback tool to help. You know, basically, oh, you lost the whole match and now you just rage your way to a win with a rage move. I'm somewhere in the middle. The biggest thing I don't like about them is that when you play long sets of matches with someone, like if you're in a player match and you're just going back and forth, rematch, 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 you're going to see the exact same animation over and over and over again, and it gets really frustrating. Maybe not so much just because I got hit by a rage move, I should know better, but because, oh my gosh, now I have to sit through this thing again and I'm going to lose the match. So it's like, I know I've lost, just get it over with, move on, you know. Also, they've removed replays, and if I had to guess, it's because of rage moves, and they realized how annoying that would be to watch the, 10, 15 second rage animation and then have to go back and watch it again if you were KO'd with one. Most of them are actually pretty well balanced. They do a decent chunk of damage, unless you're Miguel, and his needs nerfed because it does an insane amount of damage for what it is. I mean, it's ridiculous how much damage at the time of this review that Miguel's Rage Art does. But anyway, they're fun. You can combo into them, so you have to watch out for that. I'm kind of in the middle. If they remove them for Tekken 8 or whatever comes next, that's fine. If they keep them in, that's fine. I really don't care either way. I don't think they mess up the game too much. They do force you to be a little bit more careful at the end of the match because Rage Arts are armored. So if the move does not KO the other person and they just eat the damage, you will take a Rage Art to the face. So you have to be careful with that. So I'm very impressed with the one-on-one gameplay, minor quirks aside. I haven't encountered any glitches or problems. If you like Tekken's one-on-one fighting and that's what you're here for, I think you'll be very satisfied, story mode disappointments aside. The treasure battle I want to comment a little bit on. It's basically ghost mode, but you earn customization items after every battle. Some people were thinking that it was going to be annoying because there were like special matches in there, and there are like double damage battles and battles against Devil Kazumi and other things in there. But those pop up so sparingly that you don't even really have to worry about it. You're probably not going to get D-ranked because you lost a battle, a special battle, like a double speed battle or something. It is really annoying that, Tekken has always had that AI that can basically sometimes just decide, you're going to lose this round because I'm going to block everything and just relentlessly pursue you down. And it's really annoying when you get a long win streak and then you hit a double speed Devil Kazumi or something crazy like that and the game just absolutely destroys you, It kind of hurts a little bit when you've got this 50-plus win streak going and then you lose to a match that doesn't have normal circumstances, right? Like if I lose just a regular battle, well, that's on me. I should have played better. But if I get up to a 100 or 50 streak and then here comes this double speed Devil Kazumi battle and, she just cheaps out on me and destroys me, well, that's not really my fault. That was the conditions were different. I would never face that scenario in a one-on-one match at the arcade somewhere, I wouldn't just walk into the arcade and get challenged by a guy and he be able to turn the cabinet speed up to 2 times, you couldn't do that. So that's kind of a minor nitpick. I wish it didn't count against you when you lost those special battles, but it does. It resets your win streak and you have to go back to 1, and they get more frequent the more win streak you have, so you have to kind of watch out for that. That pretty much does it for the offline modes. Online has your standard fare, ranked, player, and then tournaments. For about the first 1 or 2 weeks of the game's life, the ranked was a complete mess. When I logged on to play, I was very disappointed launch night because matches wouldn't work. Maybe 1 out of 20 matches would connect. And then a lot of times they would connect and just drop, or it would say that you couldn't send a fight request or whatever. The patch that has come out has kind of fixed some of that. At the time of this review, you can usually find matches that connect, but it takes a very long time to find someone. So I don't know if they've got the netcode perfect just yet. I'm not the only one that's having this problem, so I think not. Hopefully, as we see further innovation and patches and DLC to this game, some of these servers will stabilize out and fix themselves, and we'll see some betterment right there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The only big complaint I have left is they did remove a lot of single-player modes, which you would think would not be difficult to program into the game. For example, team battle mode is missing. Time attack mode is missing. Arcade mode only has 5 stages now, which just befuddles me. Because even if it was only 5 stages in the arcade, would it really kill you to add, 5 more stages? It's just matches. You're just loading matches into the engine is all you're doing. It's not like you have to go and fully change the game code to get more stages into that. You know, that doesn't change anything. Honestly, as far as team battle and survival and all that stuff, I was kind of like in arms about it at first. And then I realized that most of that stuff I only played every once in a while anyway when I was bored with the other stuff. You know, I think Time Attack probably should have stayed in the game in some form. But as far as team battle and survival, I won't say I'm okay with them being removed because they're core features that have been in the game forever. But at the same time, I'm not just absolutely heartbroken about their loss. But then again, I enjoy the competitive fighting side more. You know, if you're a casual player and you have no interest in online, you might be disappointed because you got like 3 modes in offline, a dress-up mode, a jukebox, and then that semi-subpar story mode up there at the top. So, you know, buyer beware. If you're a strictly offline-only fighter fan and you don't like going online and you're more in it for the characters and the dress-up, you know, think carefully before you purchase it, because some of those modes that you would normally rely on to hold your attention will not be there. Other than that, the game's got a decent amount of content for the launch. It's better than Street Fighter V, but they did kind of go a similar route with the minimalism on content, which I don't like. But, you know, once again, way of the gaming world, all I can do is complain about it. That said, there is a season pass on the way. I have another video on my channel. You can go check out for that if you want to know more about that. I will tell you right now that data miners have found that the exclusive console mode, not console, but exclusive season pass mode that's coming is Tekken Bowl. Or at least that's what the data in the game says, that there's going to be a Tekken Bowl mode. If that's not right, I'll come back and correct this video if it turns out to be something crazy. But that makes a lot of sense. You know, there's probably not going to be a beat-em-up mode since you have a story mode. Tekken Ball was in, I think, the Wii U version of Tag 2, so it's probably not coming back. And Tekken Bowl has just been almost a series staple. You know, it was in Tekken Tag 1, it was in Tekken Dark Resurrection on the PSP, and both of those were excellent minigames. I love Tekken Bowl. They're a lot of fun. So that makes sense that that would be coming back. And hopefully it's VR compatible. That would be really fun to play some virtual reality Tekken Bowl and step into Mishima lanes. But anyway, if I had to right now, I would score Tekken 7 probably at about a 7 or 8 out of 10. I need to pick a number, so I'm just going to say 7 out of 10, just because of the removal of so much content that was previously in the game and the lackluster story mode. If you're in it for the fighting, though, it's probably a 9 out of 10 release. I mean, honestly, if you're in it for the fighting, you're going to love Tekken 7. I you know, full disclosure, I bought the game. I love it. I play it a lot. I don't have any connection with Namco. I'm just telling you, as a fan, I like the game. It's a lot of fun. If you like the fighting, you're going to like the fighting in Tekken 7. All right? Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Tekken 7 is out. Go check it out. This has been my review. I'd also like to note that I'm going to call this the end of Season 1 of Torentsu Reviews. I've been doing these almost 10 years on and off now. And what I'd really like to do, maybe even before starting a Season 7, is to go back and replay some of these games that I did early on in my YouTube career, like you know, the Rugrats board game and Castlevania The Adventure and a few of those other games. Re-review them and then replace those old videos, because a lot of those old videos are really embarrassing quality and the audio's bad and the recording's bad, and I just kind of, some of them I just put up to say that I had content up on YouTube, and this channel deserves better than that, especially with all the amazing support I've got from you Tekken guys here recently since I started putting Tekken on the channel. But the good news is I did get my microphone back and I have streaming capabilities. So hopefully we can start streaming some stuff and doing Torentsu Live. That's going to be a lot of fun. Also, my PSN is Torentsu37, just my YouTube username and 37. If you'd like to play some Tekken with me, shoot me an invite. Tell me you saw the YouTube video and you want to play some Tekken. I'm not very good. I'm only made it up to Mentor online with Lee. And Lucky Chloe, I think, is an expert online, just because I had a lot more fun with her than I thought I would, so I played her a little bit more. But I'd love to play some of you guys and get beat up and get absolutely schooled at the game, so maybe you could teach me a thing or two. But anyway, my final score, I'm going to say for Tekken 7 currently, is a 7 out of 10, ironically enough. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Stay tuned for more Tekken updates, news, and footage from your old pal, Torentsu.